So a really great place to talk about physical and chemical properties and changes is actually when you're cooking food in the kitchen. So we've got a couple of things here we're going to do to demonstrate some examples of physical changes and chemical changes. So the first thing I want to show you is, well, we have thyme here. This is an herb. The physical properties of thyme is that, its color, its shape, it's green. The texture on it's kind of fuzzy. Now, those are the physical properties we can observe with our eyes. Chemical properties would be things like the taste of it. How does it taste? Does it react with certain other elements when you cook it? Now, a physical change would be if we, for example, took a leaf of thyme and pulled it off the stem. We're not actually making anything new. We're just changing how the thyme looks. If I were to put all this thyme back together with the stems, it would weigh the same after plucking off all the leaves, if I put the leaves together with it, as it did when I first picked it up. So this is an example of a physical change on a piece of matter, thyme. Now, from a similar idea, we have here an onion. Now you would think that when we cut the onion, all we're seeing is a physical change, because we're taking the onion and we're cutting it into smaller pieces. We're not adding anything to the onion that looks like, we're just making it look different. Now, if any of you have cut onions before, you do know that onions have a certain chemical property to them. Because of the chemicals inside of their skin and body, inside of their skin and their cells here, they can actually make you cry when you cut them. That reaction, the gases from the onion that go to your eyes and make you cry, that's actually a chemical reaction, because you're producing a new substance. An onion, uncut by itself, is not going to make you cry. As soon as you cut the onion and kind of mix the chemicals in the skin with the chemicals of the inside of the onion, you're producing a new chemical that actually makes you cry. It's called a lacrimator, I believe, which means a chemical that makes you cry. So the physical properties of an onion are, of course, its shape, its texture, how it feels, the color, white. The chemical properties are that inside the onion you have different chemicals that when mixed together can actually make a person cry. So when I chop an onion, not only am I doing a physical change by kind of separating it out into smaller pieces, but I'm also producing a chemical reaction, because the chopping of the onion makes a gas that can make you cry. Another example of a change in the kitchen is, of course, boiling water. So while you do see fizzing on the surface here, what you're actually seeing happen inside the container is a physical change. All I'm doing is taking the water that's in this pot and turning it from a liquid into a gas. So that is a physical property, and the boiling of the water is a physical change. So yeah, next time you're cooking, kind of keep an eye out to see if there's any interesting physical or chemical reactions that you're causing to occur while you're cooking. Another example of a chemical reaction in the kitchen occurs when you take meat and heat it up. So as you know, indicators of chemical reactions are things like a sudden change in temperature, the production of bubbles like frothing, a change in color, a change in smell, stuff like that. So when you put meat into a hot pan, you're going to be able to observe a chemical reaction occurring in the pan. So as you can see, raw meat's got that red color, right? Now, once you heat it up for a bit, you can look for evidence of a chemical reaction. So if I take a piece and flip it, you can see that my red color has already changed into a brownish color. This is actually called a Maillard reaction, and as Gordon Ramsay, the chef, says, when you're cooking, if you have no color, you have no flavor. So heating up meat on the stove is another example of a chemical reaction in the kitchen.